Our first speaker is going to be Logan.
I got something to say.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely shocked at the attendance today. It's
Yes.
It is all the way up, but you have to talk right into the mic. Right into
got it. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
There we go. Anyways. Alright, look around you. I mean, isn't it amazing to see so many patriots here today? Standing next to you? I mean, it's absolutely fantastic this many people showed up. You listen to the media, you listen anywhere, you would not suspect that this kind of turnout would happen here today. And I thank God this many people came to protest with us today. This is what's so great about our country, that we can come out here today, stand together, and publicly voice our frustrations, that today each and every one of us with different beliefs, backgrounds, ideas, philosophies, that we can stand here together, stand strong and united with one thing in common. We come here today to voice our concerns, our anger, and to show the disbelief at the way our Constitution, that document each and every one of us, I believe, holds so true to their heart, has been absolutely perverted by our iniquitous leaders. We come here today to put an end to the absurdity, an end to taxation without representation, an end to lunatic spending, and most of all, an end to the silence. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today we take America back. My fellow patriots, I'd really like to read a story to you today, a story about Colonel David Crockett. He's a true pioneer, a true patriot, and a defender of the Alamo. And it goes like this. One evening, as David Crockett was standing on the Capitol with some of his members of Congress, their attention was suddenly drawn by a magnificent light over Georgetown. Evidently, it was a large fire, and they all hopped into a hack and drove as fast as they could. In spite of what could be done, many houses were burned, many families left houseless, and some losing all but the clothes they had on their back. The weather was very cold, and when David saw so many children suffering, he felt that something had to be done for them. The next morning, a bill was introduced appropriating $20,000 for their relief, putting aside all business and rushing right through it. The following summer, when it came time to election near, David decided to take a scout around among the boys of his district. Crockett, yet having no opposition, as election was some time off, he did not know what might turn up. When riding one day in a part of his district which he felt a stranger more than any, Crockett spotted a man who, plowing a field, was coming towards the road. He gauged his gait so they should meet as the stranger approached. David spoke to the man. The man responded politely, yet, as David believed, rather coldly. So David began, "Well, my friend, one of those unfortunate beings called a candidate," and he's like, "Yes," the man interrupted, "I know you. You are Colonel Crockett. I've seen you once before and voted for you the last time you were elected. I suppose you're out electioneering now. But you had better not waste your time or mine. I shall not vote for you again." Stunned and appalled, Crockett replied, "Sir, I believe I have served my constituents well. I beg of you to tell me what the matter is." "Well, Colonel," the man says, "it is hardly worth the while to waste time or words upon it. I do not see how it can be mended. But you gave a vote last winter, which shows us that either you have not the capacity to understand the Constitution, or that you are wanting in the honesty and firmness to be guided by it. In either case, you are not the man to represent me. I do beg your pardon for expressing it that way. I did not intend to avail myself of the privilege of the Constitution to speak plainly to a candidate for the purpose of insulting or wounding you. I intend by it only to say that your understanding of the Constitution is different than mine."
Is there any way you can talk louder? Nobody can hear.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Because of the traffic and stuff?
Just yell.
Yep,
go ahead, just yell it out.
We can hardly hear you.
David told the man, I admit all the truth. That's
It's all the way up. There you go. I will say to you, but for my rudeness, I should not have said that I believe you to be honest. But an understanding of the Constitution different from mine, I cannot overlook. Because, sir, the Constitution, to be worth anything, must be held sacred and rigidly observed in all its provisions. The man who wields power and misinterprets it, the more dangerous, the more honest he is. David told the man, I admit the truth of all you say, but there must be some mistake about it, for I do not remember that I gave any vote last winter upon any constitutional question. No, Colonel, there's no mistake. Though I live in the backwoods and seldom go from home, I take the papers from Washington and read very carefully all the proceedings of Congress. My papers say you voted for a bill to appropriate $20,000 to the sufferers in the Georgetown fire. Is that true? Well, my friend, as I may own up, you've got me there. But certainly nobody will complain, for a rich nation as ours should give the insignificant fund of $20,000 to relieve its suffering of women and children, particularly with a full and overflowing treasury. And I'm sure if you had been there, you would have done just the same as I. It is not the amount, Colonel, the man said, that I complain of. It is the principle. In the first place, the government ought to have in the treasury no more than enough for its legitimate purposes. But that nothing with the... Should I stop there? But that is nothing with the question. The power of collecting and dispersing money at the pleasure is the most dangerous power that can be entrusted to a man, particularly under our system of the collecting revenue by tariff, which reaches every man in the country, no matter how poor he may be. The poorer he is, the more he pays in proportion to his means. What is worse, it presses upon him without his knowledge where the weight centers. There is not a man in the United States who can ever guess how much he pays to the government. So you see that while you are contributing to relieve on one, you are drawing it from thousands who are even worse off than he. Yes. If you had the right to give anything, the amount was simply a matter of discretion with you. You had as much right to give 20 million as 20,000. If you have the right to give charity at all, and the Constitution neither defines charity or stipulates the amount, you are at liberty to give any and everything which you may believe or profess to believe is a charity, and to any amount you may think is proper. You will very easily perceive that with a wide door, this would open for fraud, corruption on one hand, and robbing the people on the other. No, Colonel, Congress had no right to give charity. Individual members may give as much of their own money as they please, but they have no right to touch a dollar of the public money for that purpose. If twice as many houses had been burned in this country as Georgetown, neither you nor a member of Congress would have thought of appropriating a dollar for our relief. There's about 240 members of Congress. If they had shown their sympathy for the sufferers by contributing each a week's pay, it would have amounted to $13,000. There are plenty of wealthy men around Washington who could have given $20,000 without depriving themselves of a luxury of life. The congressmen chose to keep their own money, which, if reports be true, some of them spent not very creditably. And the people about Washington no doubt applauded you for relieving them from necessity by giving what was not yours to give. The people have delegated to Congress by the Constitution the power to do certain things. To do this is authorized to collect and pay monies and for nothing else. Everything beyond this unsurpassed and a violation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
So you see, Colonel, you have violated the Constitution in what I consider a vital point. It is a precedent fraught with danger to the country, for when Congress once begins to stretch its power beyond its limits of the Constitution, there is no limit to it and no security for the people.
Yes.
I have no doubt that you acted honestly, but that does not make it any better, except as far as you are personally concerned, and you can see that I cannot vote for you again. Colonel Crockett felt streaked. He saw as if he should have no opposition, and this man talked